Well, just to respect your time for everybody who made it on time, let's go ahead and get rolling. My name's Kevin McClelland. I'm the Assistant Scout Executive for the Connecticut Rivers Council. Man, we've had an awesome week. So this is our third membership kickoff. We did one Tuesday at Camp Mattituck, one on Thursday at JN Webster, and this one this morning. And we've had this awesome opportunity to have conversations with 80, 90, 100 units about what's going great, what are some new ideas, what are the challenges you're facing. So I'm just really, really pumped up right now about everything we've been able to accomplish just in this short week. It's going to be a lot of fun this fall, and we're excited to help you out. Before we dive into everything we're going to talk about membership wise, I did want to take a minute to introduce the panelists on today's broadcast, as well as give somebody a chance to say hello and good morning in case he's got to run off because he's starting his vacation. So as you may be aware, every unit has a key three, right? And that's the unit leader, the committee chair, the chartered organization representative. The same is true at the district level and at the council level. And so we have a three-legged stool at the top of the Connecticut Rivers Council that includes the scout executive, the council president, and the council commissioner. And so I'm not afraid to say this out loud. I think the strongest leg of that stool, and I'm saying this as long as everybody promises not to tell my boss, the strongest leg of that stool is Bob Sanford. And Bob, do you want to say good morning to everybody?
Sure do. Hey, good morning, everybody. And Kevin, thanks for the kind remarks. I wish they were true, but anyway. So I am your council commissioner, pretty new in the role, started in May. I did make a concerted effort to make it to the camps this summer, Webster and Mattituck, and met a number of units there. I work with the district commissioners, who in turn work with unit commissioners. If your unit is ever having a problem, an issue, a challenge, a concern, some friction, whatever, go to your unit commissioner. If you don't have one, or that person's not helping you out, feel free to reach out to your district commissioner or myself as council commissioner. Our role is to be here to help units thrive and do well. And we're here as coaches, counselors, advisors, friction reducers, as I just said. So, reach out to us. And thank you for joining us this morning. You'll find this to be a very worthwhile use of an hour or so. So thanks.
Thanks, Bob. A couple more introductions this morning. My co-host for the lion's share of this webinar this morning is going to be who is now our former vice president of membership as of Tuesday morning, Lee Hoffman, who has moved over kindly into the vice president of development role. So he's going to help us reach out into the community. And we also have our new vice president of development, Vin Petrazio, who's going to talk to you closer to the end of the presentation. So with that, Lee, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. But Vin is our new vice president of membership.
Did I say the wrong thing?
Not development. Yeah, you did. That's okay. It's early. Have some coffee. It's all good. All right. So I'm gonna start this off by saying thank you for putting in the hour this week and coming to this meeting. As Kevin pointed out, we did have two pretty fantastic kickoff events live at Mattituck and Webster, but it's not always convenient to get out there on a Tuesday or Thursday night. So really appreciate you guys spending an hour with us on a Saturday morning to go over these things. And we will have time for Q&A at the end. So if anybody's got a question, just pop it in the Q&A block down at the bottom, and we can promote you and do it live and everything else. And this will also be up on the council website. So if you say, I remember Kevin said something about my beascout.org pin, but I don't remember what he said because I was nodding off because he was boring. Completely and totally fair, but you can come back and look at it again. And so with that, let's just go over what we're going to cover today. So this is the old joke, right? It's duck season, it's rabbit season, it's rabbit season, it's duck season, as Elmer Fudd gets confused with the shotgun. Well, for Kevin and I, there's only one season, recruiting season. And the thing I love best about this is the awesome Photoshop skills that we have here at Scouts BSA. There was no effort made to actually fit Kevin or my face on Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck. But while recruiting is a year-round thing, as everybody knows, this is the season that we do it, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with this as we go through our agenda. Speaking of our agenda, so here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to go over a little bit about where we are now. We've got good news on Cub recruiting, and it's important that we share that with you. As I said, all the thanks go to you. I said that at the beginning, and I'll probably say it 2 or 3 more times. But we had a great recruiting season last year. We did great throughout the year, and we're hoping to continue that momentum as we go forward. We're also going to talk about where you can get help, what resources are available to you. There are some obvious ones and there are some not so obvious ones, so we'll be covering both of that. We'll go over a little bit of the prep for your joining night, but you've already started doing that, and we'll talk about why we started early this year. Kevin's going to go through the nuts and bolts of how we do what we do, everything from Be a Scout pins to online applications to Husky benefits to all of that, and then we'll wrap up with what we're doing for Adopt a School and talk very briefly about your PAC recruiting plans, which you should already have in your hands. So one thing is we're going to refer to materials in your packet an awful lot. If you were at the live seminar, you would have been given a very large manila envelope that has a bunch of materials, papers, cardstock, everything. I know, for example, my unit was unable to come to one of the live, my Cub Scout unit was unable to come to one of the live sessions, but the Cub Master was kind enough to go to Darling Street and grab his packet. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't have a large manila envelope with recruiting resources, then by all means, talk to your council professional, your district professional, send a flag up to your unit commissioner, whatever, so that you can get that packet in your hands sooner rather than later. We will get them to you, or you can come to Darling Street and get them. Most of them have been distributed, but several have not. So if you don't have that, it's really, really, really going to make the recruiting season a heck of a lot easier. And so with that logistical information out of the way, where we are now. So we had 2,955 Cub Scouts in 128 packs last year. This year, we have more Scouts and more packs. It's actually 3.7% growth. I keep making fun of Kevin for goosing the numbers downwards. I think he did that because I was leaving, and so he could say, well, once Hoffman left, we had 4% growth the following year, so everybody's doing better. And that's fine. I get it. I get the joke. But if you look at where we were at the end of the year last year, we were in the top 10% of all councils for membership growth. And so that's something that we should all really be proud of. It wasn't just that we had a good recruiting season for ourselves. We had a good recruiting season whenever you compare that to anybody else. And so, again, another thank you, but it was all because of the line leadership like you guys who are out there in the community, engaging the kids, engaging the parents, and making it all work. This year, we have 12 new packs that are in the queue to join, and we're cautiously optimistic that all 12 of them will join by the time rechartering rolls around on October 31st. And so we're continuing to grow in our council. I'm just waiting for Kevin to turn the slide. There we go. Okay.
Sorry, I dozed off.
Where can you go? Yeah, I get that. I'm boring. It's fine. But I'm going fishing after this. You're in your house. So, good luck to you. So we all know about the council resources that are available, and we're going to talk more about the fun council resources that we have. But every unit should have a unit commissioner, as Bob alluded to at the beginning. If you don't have one, or you don't know who your unit commissioner is, pick up the phone or drop an email and let somebody at the district or council know, because we'll make sure that you're connected to that unit commissioner, and they're a useful resource. We also have membership committees in each district, and we have really good district professionals, whether you're in Charter Oak with Jay, Leadership of the Revolution with Chip, Southeastern with John, or Western with Lucas. You've got really good district professionals to help you. And then finally, we have Ricky Ann Levesque, who is the human energizer bunny, as I refer to her, who is our Cub Scout recruiting specialist, and she is more than happy to help you. But one of the other things to think about is frequently we use those resources, but we don't use the resources closer to home. So think about leaning on the troop with which you may be affiliated in your town, or which you haven't been affiliated with, but probably you might want to get to know them, because the troop there has two salient benefits. One, most troop leaders used to be Cub Scout leaders and are used to recruiting on the wholesale level, as I like to call it, with joining nights and with going to schools for meet the teacher nights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they may have some ideas for you from their own experiences that they'd be more than happy to share with you. The other thing is you can probably grab one or two Scouts BSA to help you with doing the recruiting, because as cool as we are as Scout leaders, and we all know we're cool, our Scouts are even cooler. We have photographic evidence later on that there is nothing so cool to a 6-year-old as a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old. And that really is the truth. So get them to help you, and for the little kids to see that the bigger kids think that scouting is great. But what you'll find, no matter where you go to look for help, everybody's willing to pitch in and roll up their sleeves. And now back to Kevin, and we're going to be talking about the packet that I warned you about.
All right, so I let Lee divvy up who's talking about which slides, and so he gave me all the boring ones. So while I haven't figured out how to make this particular part of the presentation sizzle, I'm going to try and go through it fast, and that way we can get back to the fun stuff. So hopefully you're aware that your unit right now has a pin on beascout.org. If you have no earthly idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. So beascout.org is essentially a recruiting site. It's a place where a family who is interested in scouting can go to find units that are nearby. And they do that by going to beascout.org, putting in their zip code, putting in the age group of their potential scout, and then it will show a list within a specific geography of that zip code. And so your unit has a pin, and pin is because it's a pin on a map. Think like a Google map with a little pin in it. That's why they call that a pin. But your unit has a pin that has customized information about your pack, and you have total control over what is said on that little pin. So let me show you what some of this looks like. One of the reasons that we're pushing you to take a look at your pin and make sure it's up to date is beascout.org is on all of the resources that we're going to put out throughout the fall. It's on every flyer. It's on the yard signs that we have for you. It's on the wristbands. It's just something we really push hard out into the community. And so you want to make sure that you have a great presence on beascout.org. On your screen, and I know this is super small, but if you go to beascout.org, you can check this out in real life. But you can see that right here, this was when I was living in Winstead. I just pulled up my zip code. We had pack 1027, really great pack up there. Right here is the address where they meet. Here's some contact information for a contact in the pack, and you get to pick who that person is, whether or not they or which genders they serve in that pack, and then a little blurb. You can put in anything you want here to customize and grab a hold of people's attention and get them excited about your particular unit. One thing I meant to mention at the very beginning, we're going to talk a lot about Cub Scouts today, and a lot of the logos and everything show Cub Scouts. There isn't anything we're going to talk about that isn't really also relevant for a troop or a crew. And so if you're from a troop, we're so glad you're here with us. And please know that while we're saying Cub Scouts, it's all scouting can benefit from these recruiting tools. So in the packet that you'll get, if you don't have it already, there's a sheet where I did a screenshot of what your Be a Scout pin looked like on August 3rd. That just happened to be the day that I pulled them all down. So that you could take a look and see, what does it look like right now, and what do I need to change? You know, is this still the appropriate person as the primary contact? Do we have a good blurb in there? Do we have the meeting address? One thing I usually recommend is in this blurb at the bottom that you see, I'd include what day of the week your pack meets. You know, if you guys have all your den meetings on the same night, or at least the pack meetings, you put up the day of the week there. And that way, if somebody is looking at your pack, but they're already doing karate on Tuesday night, and that's the same night that your pack meets, then they're probably not going to join your pack, but they can move right down to the next one on the list. And so, while they might not be joining your pack, which is obviously what you want, they're going to join scouting, which is what we all want. And so putting good information on the Be a Scout pin is really important. There's another resource that I'm going to send to you once we wrap up with today's webinar. I'm going to send you a lot of what you're seeing here as PDF documents. And so you've got them. They're in the packet that we talked about, but this way, if you want to get started this weekend, you'll have it while it's fresh. One of the documents is this instruction sheet that you see on the screen that'll tell you how to update your beascout.org pin. Basically, all of this happens in my.scouting. You go into the menu, you go to Organization Manager. One of the choices on the left is Unit Pin, and then you can go through and make the updates. The one thing I wanted to emphasize on this sheet is down at the bottom, it says critical note. When your updates are done, you have to scroll down a little bit on your screen and click save. Otherwise, none of it's going to save. I make this mistake about 17 times every fall when I'm helping a unit update their Be a Scout pin. I'll go through, get it looking just the way we want it, but I forget to scroll down and hit save. And then 2 days later, we look at Be a Scout, it didn't update, and then I get mad. And so save yourself from getting mad like me. Make sure you click save. So let's say that a family goes out there, they get into beascout.org, and they want more information about your pack. Well, how do we close that loop? What they'll do is they'll click that button on your pin that says request more information. And then the parent's going to type in their information, just a little bit about their scout, any questions they have. The way you access that information is, again, in my.scouting. The tool is you go to menu, you go down to Invitation Manager, and in there, you're going to see a list of all of the folks who have requested information about your unit, along with how long they've been sitting out there. So if you click into them, there's a place where it have all the information that the parent put in. There's a place for you to keep notes if you want to use that. So, hey, I sent an email on this date. I talked to the parent. They're thinking about visiting our unit. It's a good way to keep track as you have contacts with these families. Up to you, but I definitely recommend considering using that. Along the bottom, you're going to have a whole bunch of buttons. In fact, well, it's a whole bunch. It's 5. And I want to tell you what those mean. So the first button is respond to lead. What that's going to do if you click that is open up an email message with the parent information already populated, and you just type out a customized message to that parent. Hey, thanks for reaching out. We meet on Tuesday. Do you want to come by and visit? The next button is reassign. And so you would use this if you're talking to the family, and like I said before, you meet on Tuesday, kid's already doing karate, but they still have an interest in joining scouting. You click reassign, it goes up to the district level, and you can leave a little note that says, hey, they want to meet on a day other than Tuesday. And then the folks on the district membership committee or your district professional can help find a different unit and assign them back down. So again, it's not joining your unit, which obviously is what you want, but it's joining scouting, which is what we all want. The next one is close lead. This one will get rid of the lead entirely. It's going to be gone out of the system. You would use this if a family said, you know what, appreciate all the information. I don't think scouting's for us. We're gonna look at baseball or whatever. Okay, fine. Scouting not necessarily for everybody, although I think it really is. But you can click close lead, and it's not going to clog up your invitation manager in my.scouting anymore. Then there's complete. That means you've talked to the family. They're probably going to come and join, but you don't want them in your active list, but you want to still be able to access their information later. You would click complete. And so I made a note on this, and it's actually a mistake. It says it's no longer accessible to anyone if it's click complete. That's wrong. I was wrong. Close lead gets rid of it. Complete just puts it off basically into an archive, but you can still get at it. And then that last button on the bottom is send application. If you click that, the system will automatically send an electronic application to join your unit to the parent who asked for more information. So I don't recommend doing that at the very start, because I think that, it might be a turnoff for a potential family. They're asking for information and you're just sending them an application to join. But once you have a conversation, great way to just get that over to them without having to copy a link or go find a QR code. So
hey, Kevin, two
go ahead,
things
Lee.
before we leave. Two things before we leave this. Number one, the close is very useful also if they wind up filling out a paper application, because the paper application is not necessarily going to be connected to this. So if you've got a paper application in hand, you can close it so it's not clogging up your box. The other thing is you are going to want to keep current with this, because you're going to get pinged from the system, hey, you have leads. And if you don't address it with one of these 5 buttons, that lead is going to continue to sit out there, and you're going to get the email again. And you're going to say, I talked to the Smiths and the Millers. Why is it telling me I still have leads? And that's because you didn't click the appropriate button. So just be aware of that so that you can keep your inbox from getting clogged.
Thanks, Lee. And we just had our first question come through in there, and so I did type in the answer, but let me just answer it for the whole group. Anonymous attendee said, can you send the application after you choose complete? The answer there is no. Once you click complete, you can still access the family's information, but all the rest of the buttons are gone. And so you want to make sure if you close the lead, you're past the point where you would be sending the application. And the worst thing about this, if you don't click any of the buttons, is it's just going to sit there on your list. Eventually it'll time out and automatically be assigned up to the district level. Our general operating procedure is if that happens and there's no note in there, we assign it right back down to your unit. So if you're working with the family, you're a couple of weeks down the road, and you just want to leave it in there, no problem. You can leave it there. So don't feel like you have to act on it by clicking one of these buttons right away. It's in your list. You can hang on to it. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about the actual sign-in sheets from your joining event. So this is something we're trying this year, and I'm excited about the concept, but we'll see how it goes when we execute it. We want to help you track the interested families, any families that show interest in your unit, right in My.Scouting, in that invitation manager we were just talking about. So in your packet, when you get your hands on that, there are some sign-in sheets. It's just an Excel spreadsheet with blocks, right? So you can make your own sign-in sheet if you want. But what I'm asking you to consider is take a photograph of your sign-in sheet and text it to your district professional the night of your joining event, the next day. What we're going to do is we're going to enter all of those interested families as leads into my.scouting.org in the invitation manager system. And that way you've got families that are showing interest directly on Be a Scout. You've got families that might have shown up to a community event or to your joining event that are interested. This way you can track all of that all in one spot. And so I think that hopefully is going to be helpful in kind of keeping things organized and making sure that it's not so hard for you to follow up with potential families. And we'll do the work, right? We're going to do all the hand jamming of this into My.Scouting. All you have to do is send us a copy of your sign-in sheet. So if you use the ones that I put in your packet, it's got your district pro's cell phone number right there. So it's really easy to take a picture and text it. But if not, then get in touch with me and I'll hook you up with their cell phone number. All of our district professionals prefer phone calls after 11 o'clock on Saturday night. So make sure you give them a call. Online applications. So if you're not familiar with this concept, I don't have it. Usually I have props. I don't have any props here this morning. Forever in the BSA, we've always collected paper applications, right? You have an adult application, you have a youth application. Parents have to get carpal tunnel trying to fill these things out. Online applications are a thing. They've been around for several years. The system works really well at this point. It's quite robust. And so we encourage you to use online applications for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, it saves a lot of time. The family can just fill out the information on their cell phone, which they're going to have in their hand anyway. They can make their payment online, and then you, as either the unit leader, the committee chair, or the chartered org rep, can just approve it. The next day, they're in Scout Book and they're on your roster in My.Scouting. If you do the paper form, then you have to collect the money from the family. You have to pay it to us. You have to give us the form, and then it goes into the queue to be processed. And so there's just this delay and extra work on everybody that isn't totally necessary. So the online application system is really great. I'd encourage you to do it. And I'm going to tell you a lot more about it. So this is, again, we're back at a picture from beascout.org. This is Pack 3 in Torrington. Now I live in Torrington, so that's, just where I'm pulling stuff from right now. My buddy Jeff Sizer runs Pack 3 as the committee chair. At the bottom of the screen, we talked earlier about the request more information button, but there's also a little blue button that says apply now. If the family clicks that, then they're going to be taken over to My.Scouting, where they fill out an actual online application, click join, and then they put in their credit card, they make their payment for their membership fees. You get the chance to approve them as as the unit key 3, and then they automatically show up on your list. Lickety split, just like that. Again, in your packet, there's this form that you see on your screen, except it's personalized for your unit. And so this one obviously is for Pack 203, but that QR code, if a parent scans that on their phone, or a leader, whoever, you'll be taken directly to an application for PAC 203. So it'll be a direct application for your unit. Or if you use that link, which I can't imagine why anybody would type that in manually, but there it is. That takes you to an application right for that unit. So somebody doesn't have to go search on beascout.org, get lost looking at which unit did I go visit. I can't remember the number. This will take them straight where they need to go, and they can fill out that membership application. Now, if you're looking at this and you hate what I put together, you can make your own, right? Make whatever version of this you want. Or if you want to put that QR code on other things, your flyers, if you want to do business cards the families can hand out to their friends, whatever, I'm going to show you how to access that. So that will be another form that I'm going to send out to you this morning via email and is also in your packet. But what you see on the screen there is that QR code, that link. You go into My.Scouting, you go to menu, you go to Invitation Manager, so the same place where you're going to track your Be a Scout leads. And right near the top of the screen, you'll have an option to download a QR code or copy a URL. And that, again, is specifically for your unit. The ones on the screen here are at the council level. So just they get in and they can go and drill down to which unit they want. But the one that you're going to be able to pull out of My.Scouting is directly for your unit. So great way to just drop that QR code everywhere that you're promoting your unit. All right, we're getting closer to the end of my part of the presentation here, so thanks for hanging in with me. Let's talk about how to actually go through and accept any online applications you receive. So again, this document will be coming out to you, but it's in My.Scouting. You go to menu, and instead of Invitation Manager, where we've been working, you go over to Application Manager. If you're one of the unit key 3, you'll see a list of everybody who is basically waiting to join, has already submitted an online application. It'll tell you how long they've been out there. Youth applications are denoted by the kid in the baseball hat. Adult applications have the campaign hat, a little bit lighter blue. You click on their name, it opens up the application, and then you've got several choices again at the bottom. One is to accept, one is to reassign. So let's say somebody filled out an application for your unit, but you reach out and they say, oh, no, I clicked on the wrong unit. I meant to join this one. You click reassign, and we can get it pushed out to the right unit. Or you can click do not accept. Now, thing to know about that, the reason that button is red is when you click that, it's going to pop up with are you sure you don't want to accept this? Because we're going to tell the council that this person shouldn't probably join scouting. Then the application, if you say, yes, we don't want to accept, is deleted. The family will get a refund that's triggered automatically, and that thing is gone. And so that's fine if it's a duplicate application or if it is, in fact, somebody that we shouldn't accept. Just be aware that if it's not in that situation, they're going to have to start from scratch, the family is, and that could be a big turnoff. So if you're going to use that button, just make sure that's really what you want to do. One more thing I want to mention is, because I get this question a lot, if you're part of the unit key 3, so that's the unit leader, committee chair, charter rep, you can approve youth applications, right? Any of those 3 can do that. Adult applications have to be approved by the chartered organization rep. Per the bylaws of the Boy Scouts of America, chartered organizations select and approve adult leadership in every unit. And so that is the only individual who has the ability to accept online applications, with one caveat. Let's say that you have a chartered organization rep who just isn't going to go into My.Scouting, right? You can run by their house and they'll sign the paper forms, but they're just not going to get in there into the system and do it. But they're willing to delegate that, say, to the committee chair of the unit. You can go in and review them, approve them on the chartered organization's behalf. That charter rep can then assign the committee chair or whichever leader they want a role in My.Scouting called charter organization representative delegate. So COR delegate then will have that authority. That's kind of down in the weeds. If you're in that situation, reach out to me. I'll be glad to help walk you through what that looks like. It's 2 clicks. It's really, really simple, but the charter rep is the only one who can do that. Okay, so I think we're coming to the end of my group here. The managing online applications for reduced fee scouts. If you're not familiar with this program that we offer, if a family qualifies for Connecticut Husky benefits and or free or reduced lunch at school, then they pay a lower fee to be a part of scouting every year. Instead of the $149 that other families are paying for the next 12 months, a family in this situation would be charged $24. And that includes, there's that $25 very first time you join scouting fee. The scouts who are eligible don't pay that fee either. $24 is the all-in price for those families. In the past, up until last fall, if you wanted to have scouts be able to take advantage of that discount, you had to use paper applications, but we figured out a way to work this with an online application. And so that's laid out on the screen here with a small change. And again, this will come out when I email you, and it'll have the correct one on there. But you request that discount code in order to drop that fee down to $25 or $24 by sending an email to 066.support@scouting.org. Again, don't worry about jotting that down. I'm going to send you that information via email. But you send a copy of the lunch letter or the Husky card, just a picture of it, to 066.support@scouting.org. And within a couple of days, Maria, Michelle, or myself will send you a one-time use discount code, like a coupon. You know, if you're doing online transactions anywhere else, you get a coupon code sometimes. This discount code is for that family and will drop that online fee that they're charged down to $24. And so that's how they can take advantage of that. And the rest of the way through, their online application works like everybody else's. So that's how we accommodate those with online applications. Okay, so this one now you can actually see I did put the right email address up here, but as Lee made fun of me the other day, everything else is in yellow, stands out really great on this blue background. And then for some reason left the email address is blue against blue. And so it's hard to read, but that says 066.support@scouting.org. And again, I'll send that to you in a document so it's easy. Lee, I'm going back to you, buddy.
Kevin, before you go back to me, there was a question in the Q&A that actually two of them, but anonymous attendee is at it again and is asking about if there's a way to customize dues for each den, or is it only the national and council fee when you're doing an online app? And I thought you might want to address that live.
Yeah, great question. And this is one we get a lot. So that functionality to be able to add on the local unit fee, because you need to charge dues, right? We all know that it costs money to operate your unit, but that functionality does not exist yet. There's talk that that may be added in the future, and as we all know, Boy Scouts of America IT is flawless, and so I'm confident that they'll be able to do that. But it's not on the immediate horizon. So the only issue really with online applications that I'm aware of at this point is that you just brought up. You can pay the national and the council fees online, but then you're going to have to charge local fees separately, take a check if you have a Square reader or something like that to be able to take a credit card for your pack or your troop, but you will have to do two separate transactions with the family.
And then there was also a question as to whether or not troops could get the sign-up sheet.
Yes, absolutely. And so if you're in that particular situation, just shoot me an email directly. I'd be glad to put that together for you. It's just kind of drag and drop on my screen and I can email it right over to you.
Okay. And then we had a couple of questions that I was able to answer by typing, but while you were going, but just so that for the benefit of the group, somebody pointed out that that's a lot of data entry. And the answer is yes, it is. But you are the guys who are doing the work. So we wanted to give you the benefit of doing at least a little bit of the work for you as a bit of service to you. And then the second question, or the second comment really, was that this was a missing link that people had been looking for, and we're grateful that we were covering this. And I will tell you, and I should have told you at the outset, this is the result of Ricky Ann and David Lee, who was Bob Sanford's predecessor, sitting down with units throughout the spring and asking what can we do to help. And so hopefully some of the changes we've made, including by now you should have gotten a contact from your district professional about planning for your joining event back in July, because the biggest thing that we heard from the line leadership is it's great that you guys are cramming all of this into August, and August is a wonderful jam-packed month, but we'd like a little more runway on this because we don't do this all day, every day. And so we pushed things back to July for just a slow, steady ramp up to the fall recruiting season. And it seems to have gone over pretty well. But it's input like that that helps us to serve you guys better. And that's what we're really all about, the folks who are on this call. So when you're doing the joining night, you should have already been talking, like I said, to your district professional about planning for the joining night. And we're going to go over that one last time at the very end of this. But for right now, it's just the absolute basics, because you've got to get the information out to the community. So you don't necessarily need to know what you're doing as much as you need to know where, when, and who's doing it. So make sure that you have all of that planned out now or in the very near future. If you know that you've got the church basement and you're gonna inflate the Gaga pit and you're gonna have fun that way, fantastic. Then you're already set. And if you don't know what I mean by inflate the Gaga pit, you will, because I did take all the fun stuff. Kevin's right. But once you have all that, fine tuning it, figuring out, where the paper applications ought to be and all of that sort of thing is a lot easier. If you also share that information as soon as you have it with your PAC leadership, so everybody knows what their role is, as well as with your district professional or somebody at the council office, just because they have a copy machine, they're not afraid to use it, but the machine is limited as to how many flyers it can spit out all at once. And so if we have a sense as to who's going to need how many flyers, Kevin will happily print 1,500 flyers if that's what you need to blanket the schools, and the schools still let you use paper flyers. But we just need to know to have those 1,500 ready and in the queue. So anything you can do to let us know is fantastic, and thank you. Next one. Am I going to talk about the fun stuff now? Oh, no. And then, the promotion. Some schools still allow flyers, and if you're one of those schools, that's fantastic, because the electronic flyer system, the electronic backpack, I know from my own experience, it's very easy for the parents to just delete. I don't want my kid doing this. I don't want my kid doing that. And sometimes your kids want to do things that you don't know that they're necessarily interested in. And if they're carrying home that flyer, that sometimes helps. So if you can do that, great. If you can't, the electronic backpack, I would still recommend that you order 30 or 40 flyers. You would be surprised where you can put them: coffee shops, libraries, grocery stores, community bulletin boards, whatever, so that you can at least get the word out a little bit. I also really encourage the use of Facebook events, not just posting on Facebook, but actually putting up an event, because that way you're constantly pinged and reminded. I know that I am not going to forget to go to Big Joe's Jog on September 2nd at Camp Mattatuck. And look at me, I'm not actually jogging. I'm just working there because nobody wants to see me run. But because I pinged it on a Facebook event, every time I'm on Facebook, I'm seeing it that, you said you were going, so don't forget it's on Saturday. And that's really, really helpful. And then wherever your town has at least 2 or 3 social media fora, where you probably have the official town one, you have one that is moderated by responsible town citizens, and then you have the one that's kind of nuts. And at least if you're in my town, you have 2 that are kind of nuts because one was not nutty enough for the others. If your experience may vary, but I find that those are great places to put your promotional materials. Most people, even on the fora where they may be decrying the town manager or the first selectman, are usually pretty nice to scouting events, and they're very helpful. And then there's nothing that beats live interaction, right? Whether you're doing it as a popcorn show and sell, or you're doing it as meet the teacher night, or right now is the time for the country fall harvest fairs, have a booth. Get out there in the community and let them know who you are and what you're about. And those are all great ways to get the word out and spread the word about your joining night. And then I did mention the inflatable Gaga pit. I'm going to go through a host of equipment that we have. I will tell you that we've had the equipment now for 2 years, so we've been able to run the data on units that request the gear versus units that don't, and how they're doing on recruiting. And there's a 9% difference if you use the gear on average. Now, correlation is not causation. So I recognize that some of the units may just be more together on their recruiting, and so therefore they got the gear and it worked. Some of it, however, I find that the gear is a very useful prop because it entertains the prospective kids while you can talk to the parents. The biggest struggle I had when I was Cub Master a couple years back was I'm trying to run a joining event and I'm trying to talk to parents and I'm trying to entertain kids. Some of this takes that out of the equation. If you want the gear, you can either look at the bright yellow writing on the blue background so that you can see it, because there is the website address right there where you can actually see it. Or if you just go to our homepage, ctscouting.org, if you, in the upper right-hand corner, there's tools. And if you go down and you click on recruiting tools, you can reserve any of the gear that you want. And yeah, flip to the next page. And this is kind of the gear in action. And I know that Heather Mitchell's on here, and so I'm going to embarrass her because this was her recruiting at a back to school event. And you can see that we've got the Vortex, we've got the inflatable Gaga pit, and we also have 2 Scouts BSA scouts. We have a medium-sized scout and a large-sized scout. And then looking up at those guys, we have a bunch of prospects who think that Gaga is the coolest thing, and these kids are really cool, so this must be a great event. So let's talk about how to reserve this stuff, right? So if you go on the recruiting tools page, you will see buttons for everything that we're about to talk about. You reserve it for a date, you pay your deposit, and you take the equipment. You either pick it up at Darling Street or arrange for it to be picked up with your district professional somewhere else. Frequently, they'll take it to the camps if that's closer, what have you. Use the equipment, bring it back, get your deposit back. The lone exception to that is the Vortex recruiting bus. You saw it in the last picture and you can see it here. And it's one of the flyers that's also in your packet. The bus, as you can see, this is our bus. It looks like an Avis car rental bus, except for it's all about scouting. What you can't see is kind of like the A-Team. The panels on the sides of the van flip up, and there's 3 TV monitors. There's computer hookups inside the van. If you have a laptop and you have a slideshow or you have a video you want to show, you've got audio, you've got video, you hook up the laptop and you're ready to roll. The truck gets delivered to you. Ordinarily, it will cost $100, and that's a cost to cover the fuel and the driver and everything else to get the van delivered to you. You don't drive it. We park it wherever you tell us to. But because you came to this right here for recruiting day, we're slashing the price in half. So for $50, you can have the Vortex bus. You just have to reserve it at the council website. Click on it, give them a credit card, pay the $50, and that sucker is yours. That's Kevin's gift to all of you for joining us today. And then we have other equipment that you can use. One thing we have is the Lego Pinewood Derby, 8 cars, 4 get built by the kids with a big pile of Legos. The other 4 get raced, and then, lather, rinse, repeat. The kids can kind of run this themselves because there's no timer. There's no official way to do this. This isn't the real Pinewood Derby. And we decided against having chisels, knives, and drills for kids to actually cut the blocks before they've gotten their Bear Claws badge. But this was the reasonable compromise. We have 8 of these, I believe. Is that correct, Kevin? 8?
Yes, on the order of, right? It's sort of expandable.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So feel free to grab those. For the rest of the stuff that we're going to talk about, you are going to get asked for a credit card. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, Hoffman, you said this stuff was free. It is free. The credit card is just a deposit. So you grab the stuff that you want, pay the deposit. As soon as you bring it back in good working order, the deposit goes right back and you don't have to worry about it. And just so we're clear, we're not going to count the Legos. So if 1 or 2 go missing, don't go crazy about it. If all of them go missing, then obviously we'll have an issue. Next one. We also have recruiting booths. So if you have a back to school night or whatever, and you don't have a tablecloth and you don't have a big fold out fabric sign with a big picture on it, don't worry, we've got you covered. The recruiting booth kits have some flyers about scouting in general and about Connecticut Rivers Council. It also has that Join Scouting, beascout.org tablecloth that you see right there, as well as the Escape the Great Indoors big fold-out sign that expands so that you can have a professional looking booth. It all comes in a box. It's really quick to set up, and then you can customize it. As you can see, that pack just had a bunch of photos on a trifold science fair type experiment board just to show what they do as a unit, and it's really effective.
So real quickly, we had a question about the Lego Pinewood Derby track, and
Oh.
Joe asked, how long is it? So here's our little secret, which you would find if you actually reserve it and come pick it up, is it's just a piece of vinyl siding. And so it's 8 feet long. The nice thing about the vinyl siding is I drive a Subaru Forester, but I can fit this in there because it bends like this when I load it into my car. And so we haven't tried it in Lee's Prius just yet, I don't think, but my guess is that we could shape that thing to be able to fit in there as well.
The Gaga pit fits in the Prius. We know this, so I gotta believe that we can do that. Speaking of the Gaga pit, here is one of the inflatable Gaga pits. We have 4 available. So 3 of them are simply awesome, and 1 of them is mostly awesome. So we tried this as an experiment a couple years ago. We got an inflatable Gaga pit. We didn't know if it would work. It works great. The one Gaga pit that we have is you inflate it once, and it's mostly airtight, and then you have to deflate it, obviously. The one catch with that Gaga pit is if you're going to use it for more than, say, an hour, or the temperature starts to fall, for those of you who remember Deflategate and your pressure and temperature relations, it will sag just a little bit, but you just quick pop the pump back on, start her back up, and reinflate it, and you're good to go. You take a 5-minute hydration or popsicle break, and you're good to go. The other 3 that we have are they're basically bounce houses without a floor. So there's a pump that's constantly running in the background that's refilling them. They're not necessarily airtight, but they're airtight enough that when you have the pump running constantly, they stay up. There's no floor to them, so you just put them down on a flat piece of grass or in the church basement or wherever, and you're good to go with Gaga. The kits come with the pump, with the ball, with the Gaga walls, and with an extension cord. So as long as you're within 100 feet of a power source, you're good to go. And if you're out on the grass at the school like we are here, somebody asked this question the other day, and I had forgotten, but the Vortex comes with an inverter, which can also run the pump. So you can plug the pump into the Vortex if you do the dual use kind of thing, and that works really well also. And then the kids just love Gaga. So I don't understand it, but there it is. And then lastly, we've got these canopies. If you're out at the country fair and you don't want the sun beating down on your bald head, grab a canopy, and it'll have the scouting logos on it. It'll have beascout.org, but you could even combine that with the recruiting booth and have something for the outdoors. And like I said, all of this is available on our website. Just reserve it, and that way you know that you have it. So here's a hint: as you're making your recruiting plans, plan on getting that gear early, because there will be I don't want to say competition, but other units are going to want to use that stuff too. So the reservation system works, and if you haven't exactly picked a day, maybe you figure out what gear's available, and then you go with that day for your joining day. If you are Christine Sedita, who is our Western District membership chair, you don't need any help doing your flyers because you are a flyer savant and a genius. If you are me and you cannot draw a stick figure that anybody recognizes as a stick figure, you need some canned artwork. You need some help. And there's a very long website that's there, again in yellow, so you can read it, but it's a very long website. I have yet to use the website directly. What I do is I just Google Boy Scout Brand Center, and it takes you to that link. Once you get there, what you will find is a treasure trove of flyer designs, stock art, um, all kinds of great stuff that you can use that's been pre-cleared. And most of the flyer designs have a big blank space for you to put whatever information about your pack or your troop or your crew right there on the flyer. And they even have age appropriate stuff. So if you're a Scouts BSA troop, they've got middle school and high school kids doing the hikes and doing whatever. If you're a Cub Scout pack, it's the littler folks who are doing all that. But it's a great resource. You can get really creative, and then you can push that out for your flyers, for your social media campaigns, Instagram, Facebook, however you want to roll. Kevin is actually going to start doing TikToks of him with his new pug in the near future. How he's going to relate that to scouting, I'm not sure, but I know he'll come up with a way. And it's just an invaluable resource for those of us who may be otherwise graphically art challenged. And then the other thing is, we tricked Bob Sanford into wearing his Class A at the beginning, but you'll notice that Vin, Kevin, and I are all wearing Class Bs. We've all got Scout shirts on, but they're not uniforms. Think about whether or not how you felt when your first kid joining scouting was 5 or 6. Scouting's a little intimidating to the uninitiated. We have our own vocabulary. So, and some of it's obviously strange, like Webelos and Akela and what have you. But others of it, even like pack and den, people think they know what those words mean, but it obviously means a group of elementary school students if it's a pack, or a grade level group of students if it's a den. But that's obvious to us. It's not obvious to the rest of the world. And sometimes all the khaki shirts and all the jargon, it can be a little off-putting. T-shirts, Class Bs that have your troop's name proudly emblazoned on them, or something having to do with scouting, like Kevin's Asked Me About Scouting shirt, that may be the way to go. Do what you're comfortable with, because if you're comfortable, that's going to show more importantly than anything that you wear. But if you're ambivalent, or you are more comfortable in T-shirts and Class Bs, go with that, roll with that. It's perfectly fine. As long as everybody's wearing the same Class B, they'll know you're together, maybe as a cult, maybe as something else. But once they get to meet you, they'll know that it's just scouting and it's not cultish. Obviously, you need to get there early, because you're going to have 1 or 2 people who are at the event way before you thought they'd ever be. So just be there to greet them. If it's a place that isn't out and obvious, signage is your friend. So have a couple of arrows saying, Pack 203 event, go this way, with a big arrow, or whatever else have you, because frankly, that's the way to do it, is to make sure that people can find you and get to your event. Use balloons, use whatever. And then think about having somebody who is your cheerful, active, happy parent who doesn't have a den leader or cub master job. Think about having them there to greet people just as a friendly parent and a friendly face. And if they've got any questions, you as a leader are going to be running around and having a lot of other things. So having somebody who's just there focused on the new prospects is going to inure to your benefit, number one. And number two, it's a great starter drug, if you will, for other positions in the pack or the troop later on. If you get somebody who just does that role in the fall and they get comfortable with it, they're going to be comfortable doing other things later. And I know that recruiting adults is every bit as important as recruiting the kids. And so with that, Kevin, take us home.
Here we go. So on your screen, there's a big logo that says BSA Adopts a School. So this is a program that's been around for a while, and we decided to kind of try to emphasize it this year as we're looking to build stronger relationships with our school communities. And so this is a chance for your unit to just go into the local administration and say, kind of like you adopt a road out there, and hopefully, you're not doing that, because I don't like kids near roads, but, you can adopt a road. They put a sign up that says this highway's been adopted by whoever. We give you a sign that you can give to the school administration that says this school has been adopted by Pack 123, and it's got beascout.org on the bottom. So selfishly, we get a little promo there too. But this does a dual purpose for us. It helps teach our scouts the importance of community service while also giving us an opportunity for stronger relationships with the school and the school administrators specifically. And so I've seen this in action where the superintendent or the central office for the school district has said, you know, we're not going to do flyers anymore, but because we have such a strong relationship with either the PTO or the PTA or the school administration, they say, go ahead and bring in the flyers, we'll get them out. And so, you know, there are a couple of reasons sort of selfishly that this is great, but I think the most important one is gives your scouts a chance to take pride and ownership in their local school by doing things like spreading mulch or raking leaves or putting up the flag every Monday morning or whatever it looks like in your individual community. And like I said, we're going to give you a sign that you can give to the school that they can post hopefully right outside of the office that says this school has been adopted by the PAC. The signs look great. Chip Goss makes them for us with his Cricut machine right outside of my office. So in addition to this, you also get to irritate me because I have to listen to that machine go. So that's just an added bonus for you. Last thing I'm going to talk to you about, and obviously it says tonight on your screen because this is the same one we used for the last two kickoffs. So sorry I didn't personalize this for a Saturday morning. I'm going to send this to you again as one of the resources via email after this meeting. It's just your fall recruiting plan. What are the specifics around your joining plans for your unit? And the reason that we're asking you for this is so that we can be prepared to assist you, whatever that's going to look like. And really, one of the key things is making sure that we have the capacity to get the flyers out to you when you need them. And the more lead time we have on that, the better. Right now, our copy machines aren't running all that hard. By September 7, 8, 9, 10, they're going to be pretty busy. So if we can get ahead of that a little bit, that helps us out. So this information, super helpful. You can send it to me by replying to the email I send you. You can send it directly to your district professional. But the sooner we can get this information, the better we can be prepared to assist you in making this join night a super, super success. This is our last slide, and then we'll sit around and do some Q&A. But before I start talking about this, I wanted to turn the floor over again to our new Vice President of Membership, not Development, that's Lee. Our new Vice President of Membership, Vin Petrazio, my good friend. Vin?
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you great.
Okay, great. I just wanted to say thank you very much for spending a Saturday morning with the ugly mugs of the four blokes you see on your screen. I don't have to shave my head in order to be in this position, do I, Lee?
Sorry, Vin, I was on mute. No, but it helps. It's more aerodynamic.
In any event, those of you that know me know that I was sort of in the role of Western District Chairman for the last 6 years, and I fired myself. To that end, I'm really excited to be doing this. This is, in fact, the most important thing that we can do in scouting because we're bringing the program to new kids. And I just wanted to hold up, since I'm in my house, this hangs in my living room. This is a Rockwell of giving thanks at a campsite. It looks very, very much like the site up at Arrow North at Camp Mattatuck that I did when I was a kid. And I also wanted to say that in coaching baseball for 12 years, never did that in the dugout. Truth be known, myself, I did pray for a double play or a base hit, but never brought the group together and prayed. So what we do here is really, really important. I know you all know that, and thank you very much for doing what you do. In addition to that, coming at you right now in the chat is my contact information. I want to make myself available to you if you're doing a join night, recruiting event, or even a PAC meeting. Please invite me. I'll do my best to be there, particularly if you're new to scouting and you feel sort of uncomfortable. Please give me a call. The way that we do recruiting best is one-on-one with our parents, and I can fulfill that role if you need me to do so. So please give me a call. Also, there is a link in the chat to the Scouting Wire Marketing and Membership Hub, which has I think it's probably the overall URL to a lot of the sub URLs that were given here in the presentation. So in addition to that is the BSA Brand Center. If you do want to make your own flyers, there's plenty of information out there and pre-approved pictures of kids doing great things. So go ahead and take a look at that. And that's it. I'm going to give the floor back to Kevin and take your questions and answers. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Vin. As Vin mentioned, we're going to stick around, do Q&A. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them into that Q&A section while I talk about this slide that's on your screen. So on your screen is a listing of all of our district professionals, along with Alex Cantor, myself, and Lee, and Vin has put his information into the chat. So Bob, Lee, and Vin are volunteer scouters, just like everybody on the call here. We have a small team of professionals that are here to support you, who are employees of the Boy Scouts. But having these three guys is like having three more employees. Their dedication is inspirational and awesome. And so reach out to them if they can help. They've got another whole set of experiences that add to the diversity of what we can offer you at 60 Darling Street. So if you're in the Western District, you're working with Lucas, great guy, really wants to help you out. Charter Oak is Jay Messier. You'll notice that we have Ricky Ann just below Jay on the chart. Ricky Ann is our council-wide Cub Scout specialist. I know she's worked with some of you who are on the call. Absolutely awesome. Ricky Ann has been Cub Master of a pack in Bristol of about 100 kids for years and years, and she just wants to help, and it's all about Cub Scouts. So reach out to her. She also coordinates all of those loanable resources we have. So if you have questions about that, you can start with your district pro, but you can go straight to Ricky. She's the expert with that. Out in Leaders of the Revolution, it's Chip Goss. Came to us, a longtime Cub Scout leader, used to run Cub Camp at Jay and Webster, super tremendous resource, loves Cub Scouting. And then John Coleman down in the Southeastern District. One thing I'll mention about John is you look at his email address, it says john.coleman2. There's another John Coleman who works for the Boy Scouts of America out in Kansas. And so if you don't put the 2 in there, it's going to go into his inbox, which is actually kind of fun for me, but it's not going to get to where you want it to be. So make sure you put that numeral 2 at the end of John.Coleman. Alex Cantor is our field director. He manages that group I just mentioned. Absolutely tremendous resource as well. And then you've got Lee, you've got me, and you've got Vin. So whatever we can do to assist you, we are all in. We want to make this just another awesome recruiting season. We had a great one last year. I think there's a lot of energy around this year, and I'm super excited. If it's not coming through in my voice, I'm pretty pumped up for the next 3, 4, 5 weeks. So let us know how we can help. With that, I haven't seen any more questions. So Lee, do you want to do a little time fill, make some closing comments, and we'll see if anything pops up?
I'm going to end as I began. I've been a Cub Master. I've been a den leader. I'm now a troop committee chair. So I sit where you sit. I'm still interacting with the kids. I don't sit on the cushy pedestal up at 60 Darling Street like Kevin does. You should see his office. It's like the Taj Mahal. But I know how hard you guys work. And so I just want to say thank you again. Everything we're doing is in support of you because you are the ones who are making it all work. You've made it work during my tenure as being the VP of membership. I know that you're going to do the work for Vinny, and I know that you're doing the work because you guys believe in scouting, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. It's you guys that are making it work. And without you, we're just bald people flapping our gums and being jealous of Vinny's hair. Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you, Lee. Thanks, Vin. Thanks, Bob, for being here. Thank all of you for joining us this Saturday morning. And I hope you have a spectacular weekend. I'll be sending an email with the resources we talked about. And then probably on Monday, we'll get another email out with a link to this recording, because I can only imagine you can't wait to watch this all again. So have a great weekend, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Take care.
Take care.